Hi guys, welcome back to Ari's Vegan Vida. So on today's video, I have a super easy dessert for you guys. So I have been seeing this dessert for quite some time now online, you know, on TikTok. In general, people sell it in my town and I really want to try it. So I figured why not veganize it, since I personally have not seen another vegan version. In order to veganize this, I had to look at non-vegan recipes and see what they use. The recipe is nowhere near original, you know, this is not something I made up. So yeah, they're cheesecake bars. So it is like puff pastry, cheesecake filling, and puff pastry. So I have been testing this out for quite some time now. I want to say for a little bit over a month. I've done so many batches because I originally wanted to make my own cream cheese filling like from scratch. So I had tried making like a cashew cream cheese filling, and although it was good, it did not resemble cheesecake flavor nearly as much as I would like it to. It was good, like it would have passed, but it tasted not the same as cheesecake. You know how cheesecake has that tart, that sweet, that deliciousness, and prior to being vegan I used to love cheesecake, so I really wanted to replicate that type of filling. So honestly, I was thinking too hard because the easiest way to veganize this was to use vegan cream cheese. I don't know why I didn't do that from the beginning. I just like making things hard and I like making things from scratch, but this recipe ended up being super easy. I'm only going to be making half a baking dish, and what I mean by half, it's going to be an 8-inch. I've seen that most people use like a big one, like the 16-inch one, and they use like double the amount that I do. But since I'm vegan, and if you're watching this you're probably vegan and you're probably not going to make a big batch, so I made the batch in half. And if you want to make it a bigger batch, then you can double the ingredients. And I decided to do half Oreo, so it could be Oreo churro cheesecake, and the other half is gonna be plain. And yeah, so I hope you guys really enjoy this recipe. It's super easy, something a little bit different than what I normally post, but I hope you guys really enjoy it. Thank you guys so much for all the love. Bye! Okay guys, so to begin this recipe, I'm going to start off by making the cream cheese filling. You can use any vegan cream cheese that you like and is accessible to you. Although I highly recommend Kitehill for this recipe. All you need is an 8-ounce pack. You can throw that right into the bowl. Alongside that, I'm adding 1 tablespoon of some vegan sour cream for some tartness. I chose Tofutti because that is what is local to me and it has a pretty mild neutral flavor. And to that, I'm going to be throwing in some clear vanilla extract because it does not alter the color and you only need half a teaspoon for some flavor. Now for some sugar, make sure it is vegan. I added 5 tablespoons, which was the perfect desired sweetness, but you can add more or less. And lastly, all you need is 1/4 of a teaspoon of some salt. Now that all the ingredients are in there, I'm taking my hand mixer and whisking this right up until smooth. You can do this with a normal whisk, it works just as well. You don't need a hand mixer. And once everything is thoroughly combined, it should look a little bit something like this, all delicious and smooth. Before I assemble, I'm gonna make the cinnamon sugar to a tiny bowl. I am adding 2 tablespoons of vegan sugar and half a tablespoon of some cinnamon and mixing until thoroughly combined. Now for the pastry dough, I'm using this crescent dough sheet, which is actually accidentally vegan. I know that's crazy. And I'm simply going to be cutting this in half to fit my 8-inch pan. I'm opening this up following the packaging's instructions. Once it's out, I'm going to carefully roll this out onto the cutting board so it doesn't tear, but if it does, just use your fingers to even it out and press in the holes. If you don't have access to this rollout crescent dough sheet, they do sell the crescent roll ones that's already cut up for you. The ones that have the dotted lines, just be sure to press that in to create a pastry sheet. And I'm going to be cutting this in half to fit my pan as I already stated. Off camera, I melted 1 teaspoon of vegan butter, which I'm brushing on to coat the edges and the bottom so that the churro cheesecake could come out from the pan with no hassle. And then I'm also sprinkling half of the cinnamon sugar mixture that we made earlier all around for a crunchy bottom. And then carefully add in half of the pastry sheet. Make sure to stretch it out a little bit so it fits evenly throughout the whole pan. And now I'm adding in the cream cheese filling with a spatula to make sure it gets evenly distributed. I only added about half because then I'm going to be adding some Oreos to half of it, which I highly recommend you do so as well. And then you can add in the rest of the cream cheese filling on top of that so it gets baked into it. If you want to switch this up with a different cookie, you can use some other vegan options like Nutter Butters. I also tried this recipe with golden Oreos and it was just as good, but definitely the chocolate Oreos were spot on delicious because it reminded me of cookies and cream. And on top of that, I'm putting the other half of the pastry sheet. Just make sure you stretch it out as you did with the other one. And then on top of that, I'm going to repeat the same step as the beginning. I'm adding the rest of the vegan melted butter and the rest of that cinnamon sugar. Make sure it just coats evenly through the whole thing because it gives it such a crunchy exterior and gives it that churro vibes we are looking for here. And it should look a little bit something like this. Super delicious and ready for the oven. Now pop it into the oven for 30 minutes at 350 degrees. Be sure to keep an eye out on it. Okay, so once it's out of the oven, you're gonna have to set it aside to cool down for an hour or two before you can cut into it, because if not, it'll be too gooey. So 2 hours later, mine was ready to be cut, and I like to flip it onto the cutting board and just flip it over. And then I'm going to be taking a knife and cutting it in half. This actually makes 6 big bars or 12 small squares. Once you cut your bar ups, I highly recommend you refrigerate them either for like 3 hours or overnight before you decorate them. So after refrigerating them for a couple of hours, I chose to add some chocolate drizzle on top. I tossed in 2 tablespoons of some vegan chocolate chips in the microwave in like 10-second intervals until it was melted. I poured it into a Ziploc bag and then I did this really horrible drizzle on top. I'm no expert, it was pretty ugly. I added some fresh strawberries on top to counteract all that sweetness, and there you guys have it, the finished product. These came out absolutely divine. I hope you guys recreate this recipe, and if you guys do, please tag me on Instagram or comment on this video and comment down below what other dessert recipes you guys want to see from me. I'm super excited to veganize, tres leches cake. You guys have been requesting choco flan. So many options, endless opportunities, and I am here to veganize childhood favorites for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye!